learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming into June 10th, 2020, and Jerome Powell is going to move the stock market tomorrow. Yes, we have a Fed interest rate decision, although the expectations aren't expecting too much. Based on what we saw with TLT, I'm kind of expecting we should get some sort of movement, and it will surprise you. So I'm excited to talk about that. I have a few plays for tomorrow. One of them includes TLT and some of its cousins, HYG and LQD. It's not the big TLT. This is not, disclaimer, well, option trading only thing around today, but this isn't the big TLT play, but I have something I'm going to be looking at tomorrow, and you see it here with the markets. We dropped down today, but kind of bought back up and then held. We still closed down 300. The rotations we talked about yesterday all got completely destroyed, but we are still in bull market territory, and tomorrow is, in fact, an event. So I want to talk about how to set up around that, or kind of some of the ideas I have and the expectations as well, too. So got that, the plays, the keys. That's pretty much it. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, ask about the plays, watch this watch list come to life. All we ask is that you're positive and respectful, and the most important thing you need to do, post or watch this below. Let us know what you're looking at. You got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below. We got to source that info. Well, let me know what you think about this TLT. So right off the bat, tomorrow is going to be Powell. It's going to happen around 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern, usually like 10 or 11 a.m. Pacific time, and then the press conference comes out 30 minutes later. So you'll usually get one response from the market after the release, and then as Powell is talking, and then usually it takes a few days to digest, so keep that in mind. But he is going to be the most notable news, and it's also another reason to explain why we really haven't seen anything too crazy, even though we've had a lot of up days. Again, this is just the first down day in June. We haven't seen a down day. This was decently large too, but we are still holding up for a reason, and I think that is the Fed. There is anticipation, but it is very, very unlikely that he is going to have a negative surprise. So when you come to the Fed rate cut tool and we've watched this and what the market is expecting, it is pretty certain there is some uncertainty. And again, you saw the bonds today. TLT showed us something, but for the most part, we are not expecting Powell to surprise. He is not going to cut rates. However, I'm expecting he'll change some stuff that we'll talk about, but for the most part, the market is not anticipating him to do anything. If anything, I'm pretty much expecting him to have something that will unleash the bulls, in the sense that he is not going to cut rates or anything like that. They're going to say something positive, maybe outline what they're going to be doing with the lending program and the primary dealers and all that. But it's more likely that he's going to say something that will allow the market to digest and go up, reach that final level, and then set us there at the peak. But on that same note now, what I'm really expecting is something related to bonds, their bond buying program, repos, and then also the lending facility. But with what we saw with the bond market today, I'm pretty much expecting Powell to say something to put a floor to TLT, HYG, LQD, the 10-year, and all that. So when we look at the 10-year, I'll bring that up for you. I've showed you guys this many, many times. We've gone through the whole history over the last few years and watching, what happens with bonds. But you already see it. We hit this low. This is that bounce. So if you guys have watched along and been keeping up with these watch lists and TLT and all that, you know what I'm talking about here. But usually after the bonds hit a new low, they bounce for a little bit, and that's even what you see if we zoom in. You can see it starting to come down here a little bit. That's exactly what TLT is reflecting. Flip this chart upside down. This is TLT upside down. So usually now these bounces kind of set that floor to a degree of the range. So I'm expecting him to say something that is going to give us that floor, and that's why I'm going to be looking to make a play, but I'm going to be looking to do a specific play that we will talk about. But there was some other things today, like stuff with China and their protesters and how to treat them or something. something political, but we haven't really seen any other news. And again, I think this is just going to be the most notable stuff, but I think the market will take it overall bullish. There won't be any surprises, and then I'm expecting something specific that will set the floor with bonds. However, watching bonds tomorrow, HYG, TLT, all of those are going to be important. And then finally, this could be because of what we're expecting with Powell tomorrow and what the market, again, this is still, it's weirdly going to be a pivotal meeting. Although most is expected, we shouldn't be surprised. And this was the main thing I talked about, why this meeting is so important, is because Powell's credibility, the credibility of the Fed and central bankers is very, very important. Some people said, will he cut? And no, because the market is not pricing that in, and there is an advantage to having credibility. They like it when the markets are stable. They don't want to throw a curveball and make the market spiral out of control. So that's why I'm expecting, if anything, something to stabilize or bullish for the market. And if they are going to let anything get out of control or make a specific tweak, I'm going to be looking to the bonds. And again, that whole 10-year thing. So that being said, everything we're looking for and that we've talked about is still in play, but those rotations that we talked about yesterday got completely destroyed again. You saw tech lead today. All those value stocks got killed. So that's telling us something, but I want to watch how this plays out and again, what tomorrow and the meeting ends up confirming. So that is pretty much it. Be on the lookout for tomorrow. Don't be too timid. Don't be too aggressive on both sides. Again, up or down, like I said, it could be low-key pretty pivotal given the context of everything. And Powell has this ability. These are the events, the Fed meetings, when they are really linked to other events, they could be important to give you a scale. This isn't the most important. This isn't like the TLT, and that's why I'm saying I'm not getting too aggressive with this or I'm too excited, but I will be on the lookout. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. Right off the bat, the first thing I did was I made plays. I have them outlined on the keys. We'll go over that, but I did a Sonos play. They had news, and again, we've talked about this yesterday or at the beginning of the week, but they've been keep getting these bio rumors, and then it was Citron again. I think they said two different things today. They talked about Nikolai and then Sonos, but Sonos started going up on the news that Citron said that Sonos could potentially get purchased by Apple or someone else. Again, same sort of rumor. It's been going on for years at this point, but we saw the pop early. I caught it really, really fast off the high-low ticker, saw that they were cheap, saw they had a decent amount of time. I got 5 of them at 13 cents. They started shooting up, had some volatility. I was able to sell 2, make that a quick, get it for free, and then hold the rest. So I'm still riding those out, and that's a small play. We kept it small, but one thing you're seeing, even how we played the Beyond Meat, even how we played the Boeing, I want to make sure I'm taking advantage of these plays in this market where I'm going to start being more prone to getting my initial investment back as soon as possible so I could ride some of these out, because a lot of these plays are hitting and then coming back, and there is a lot of volatility. We will miss out on some gains, and it will save us at times, but I've been seeing a lot of inherent advantages to that, as well as selling premium, which we will talk about. But that was the first play I made. As far as the other plays I'm going to be looking for tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at Spotify next. Again, we have the Sonos, but Spotify, I was looking at this. They have some upside. Again, we've talked about it, and the best thing about them is that they've kind of decayed a little bit. Let me take you guys over here. Think about when we had those plays, and again, the plays with time are still up. They're not as expensive. Remember, we have those July contracts, but remember, it hit that high. The Joe Rogan stuff had a lot of premium, came down, kind of edged up, but this took a few weeks, so this is making the contracts a little bit cheaper on the shorter scale. So the Julys are somewhat more expensive, but now think theta and how it affects. These June 19ths are pretty decent. Again, you're going to have to spend a little bit of money, and it's expecting something big. All right, that's Boeing. Same concept, though, with the timing. I didn't need to look at the chain. But, yeah, you see, you got some at 30. These are really, really far out. But they have some cheaper plays I'm going to see. But you could see that it still has some premium from where it's at, kind of holding that base of the hype. So it's interesting, but I'm going to look out for them to see if they break out. Again, think beyond and all those. But this is an important level. So that's one play I'm going to be eyeing for tomorrow. And then finally, the last play is going to be TLT, HYG, LQD. I'm going to be looking at these LQD, HYG. But one play that I want to open, it's going to be a little bit crazy. You're kind of surprising. I've talked about this, but I think it makes sense with my theory. It depends on what Mr. Powell says tomorrow, but I want to sell puts on TLT. I've talked about this in the past at a lower level, but I think this might be the time because, again, what I'm expecting is this to be the peak of the bonds flushing out, and then I'm expecting bonds to kind of elevate from here, or for yields to come down lower over time. So what I would be doing is selling puts on TLT, seeing how much I could collect and put some of these bigger cash balances I have to work, either thinking the June 19th, or I could get a decent amount of time on them. I mean, they're not too bad, but like 140s, 150s, get a couple $100, but I wish I had this idea a few days ago. They were going for a lot more. So I'm going to watch that, keep that in mind, or even see if there's even a put play on HYG or LQD. Again, it all depends on what Powell says, or if they give more support. Again, LQD could go up, but for the most part, I am anticipating TLT is going to start using this as a base, but I could be wrong. We will see, and we'll keep an eye on that for sure, but I'm going to be watching those. Those are the 3 plays that I'll be looking for. There is Wells Fargo as a secondary runner-up. I was looking for calls on them, but the thing is, they dropped and then they kind of held up. Again, even though the rotation got destroyed in the morning, but then kind of picked up with the market, the calls are still expensive. I looked at the calls. They were still up around 300% from this initial run-up over the last few days. So this move still has some premium juiced into those calls, so I don't really like it. But I am waiting for that bank rotation. And again, Wells Fargo, they've been a lagger. Again, picturing the whole UAL situation, cruise line, all that. But watch them, watch Beyond. This is another play I'm going to be looking for. A lot of people asked about this one because we're in it. Remember, and even yesterday I was like, oh, man, I know Beyond's going to go crazy. I was like, man, I kind of wish I held them. Even though I sold this first one early, I sold this at $4. They touched $4 early in the morning, but those Beyonds came down throughout the day. Beyond kind of touched those highs again, but it didn't close there. The contracts are like $250 now, so it's still not bad, but am I waiting to really double dip on Beyond? I want to give it one more day, or if maybe it does come back up tomorrow, but I was expecting a bigger run up and then a harder sell off before the double dip, but this wasn't really the double dip day because, again, those contracts are still up 500%. So I'm still going to watch those. Keep your eye on those. We talked about Spotify, and then Apple. Again, they've low-key, I've said it, they can move really big when they do it. This is a $20 move in the last few days. That's really, really big, and those contracts could be cheap, but watch Apple. They had the news. Again, it's old news, but I think the market kind of started pricing it in a little bit weird today, but that they were going to start making their own chips instead of using AMD, so they did good off that, but watch Apple. Again, they were a really, really big leader. Then, like we said, LQD, HYG. Watch McDonald's. We have that call play. The credit spread, we're down on it, but I want to see if I could even buy premium, maybe strangle it both ways because I'm already losing on the put play, but now kind of take advantage of these elevated prices, but I want to watch them HD. And again, this is to pay attention. You could see that whole rotation we talked about, it got destroyed. They didn't really move much and go down, but tech was the real big leader today. Then watch Netflix and that premium selling, again, that we've talked about. This is what's making me want to sell some premium and sell some of these puts because, again, here's that Netflix we did at the beginning of the week. We got like 62%, $270. We already got 160. You see it even with the rotations, but again, how the market's holding this range, that's a pretty good trade. I wish we were able to do a little bit more. Even the same thing with those Nikes. It says we were down on them, but we're most likely going to expire. These are going to be in our favor. Stock's at 102. It doesn't really move too much, but then we're down on the McDonald's. But you can see how some of these plays you could do pretty good. But watch Netflix, and again, why I bring them up is watch how they've rotated. So if the market does do bad off of whatever Powell says tomorrow and tech does still hold up good, keep an eye out for that. And again, don't even forget Walmart. We got the puts on those this week. Those are still down even after today, but notice that they held up and they closed even today. So watch them. TLT, I will give a slight eye to GLD. I didn't really go shopping for them, but why I'm paying attention to the bonds and why I got my theory is that the bonds kind of shot up today, and you kind of saw even with there was some negativity in the morning off of a little overestimates or even like a second wave, but the fact that the bond market's reacting the day before the meeting, it's kind of like, okay, they know what to expect. You saw the Fed futures, but they're still a little hesitant, and the fact is the timing makes sense. It's been a few months now. Bonds have leveled out. They've kind of peaked, and now for the next wave to begin next quarter and all that, it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm going to be watching TLT, but we will see the plays that are available and what we could do with that. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you ready to go. Controlling the balance, controlling the budget. If you missed the after hours, well, you got a little mini philosophy, baby. I need you to show some love. You need to stop doubting others. You need to stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting yourself. You'll start doubting others. You'll stop doubting others. You get it, but you need to relax, baby. Show some love. Be there, baby. You got to be focused on the game. Be in your own lane, baby. Remember what we said the other day. Don't let too much noise get in, baby. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.